The numbers aren't adding up and unemployment figures aren't really changing. It's still kind of bleak. So where is this bullish message coming from on Delaware's economic future? Is it reality or just spin?
No, of course it's reality. And the fact is the unemployment numbers were actually significantly better than the national average. At the same time, we recognize that at a 6.9% unemployment rate, there are 30,000 people in our state who want to be working and who are not. And so we're going to be relentlessly focused on putting them back to work. But the facts are, JP Chase is adding 1,200 jobs. Amazon is building, almost finished up, a 1 million square foot distribution facility. They'll be putting 1,000 people to work there. Bloom Energy is building a new factory a mile or two from here where they'll be employing hundreds. The Valero refinery was closed. It has reopened. It's probably the only refinery in the country that had closed and is now reopened. Bank of America is laying 30,000 people off across the country. They're adding 500 jobs here in Delaware. Miller Metal, all of these companies and dozens more adding jobs as well. We're putting people back to work. We've certainly got a ways to go, and we're going to continue to focus on that.
You have a 1-minute rebuttal before our follow-up discussion.
The answer is spin. When we have 30,200 unemployed people, and there's another 18,000 who are underemployed, people who have taken jobs part-time, people who are working multiple jobs. When Jack ran, he put together in his book, A Blueprint for Delaware, that it's not the job of the government to create jobs, but to create an environment. We haven't done a good enough job creating that environment, and that's borne out by the numbers.
It's not spin to the 1,200 people who are going to be at JP Chase. You can say it's spin. The fact is these are real jobs, real families being put back to work.
We're in discussion, so feel free to offer your opinion.
Again, it's been 30,200 unemployed, 18,000 additional individuals who have dropped out of the workforce, people who've taken part-time jobs. You know, we can argue back and forth about what the numbers, but on election day, those people will go to the polls, and they will make a decision based on their own personal experiences.
But in your campaign, you have cited the high percentage of people in Delaware who earn their paycheck from the government. So if you were to trim down the government, aren't we just exasperating the problem?
I moved to Delaware in the late 1980s, and the largest employer was the DuPont Company. Today, the largest employer is the state of Delaware. The second largest employer is the federal government. We have made our economy more and more dependent on government, which means higher taxes, which means a slower growth long-term economy. What we need to do to turn this economy down is trim down the drag of government and increase the entrepreneurship and the private sector. And when you grow the private sector—
Does that mean jobs, though? Trim down jobs. When you say trim down the drag of government, do you mean trim jobs?
What we need to do is we need to hold the rate of growth of government to no more than the rate of inflation, which means 1 or 2% a year. I don't think Jack disagrees with me on that.
Well, and not only do I not disagree, but in fact we've done it. The average growth since I took office in state spending is 1.7%. We are the only administration going all the way back to the DuPont administration where our state government headcount is lower than it was.